Yeah. So, yes, that's the first one, I guess, huh?
That's my first pick. Do you want to go next? Do you want me to keep going?
I'll go next.
All right. What do you got?
You know, JT, for this one, we are starting off in a galaxy long ago, in a galaxy
Far, far away.
far, far away. Dun, 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 dun.
Which one are we talking about?
Okay, we're gonna start with the Yep, we gotta talk about it, folks. I'm sorry. The prequels. The first okay, the first okay, this was the all right. This was the Phantom Menace was released in 1999.
I was 1 year old.
I was 5, and I remember that guess where that movie was?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And because this was the first Star Wars movie in 16 years.
It's a long time. It's a long time.
Since the Return of the Jedi in 1983. So we had to wait nearly 2 decades for another Star Wars movie. Okay, so why did we have to wait so long? Well, here's what happened. While writing the Star Wars film, thank you, Wikipedia, Lucas decided the story would be too vast to be covered in one film. He introduced a wider story arc that could be told in sequels. If it became successful, he negotiated a contract to make 2 sequels, which were, of course,
Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. In the trilogy's final episode, Return of the Jedi, Vader is redeemed. Okay. Then throughout the 80s, Lucas said he had no desire to return to Star Wars and canceled the sequels by the time Return of the Jedi. However, because Lucas had developed most of the backstory, the idea of the prequels continued to fascinate him. And then in the early 90s, a resurgence in the popularity of the wake of Dark Horse's comic line and Timothy Zane's trilogy of novels, Lucas saw there was still a large audience for this idea of a prequel film. And with the development of special effects, and he wanted to start telling the story of Anakin Skywalker instead of Obi-Wan, like the originals were. And Lucas began writing the prequel trilogy on November 1st, 1994, which was the year that yours truly
was born.
Entered the world.
Yes.
And it was adopted from a 15-page outline and larger budget and possibilities. And yeah, we all know that and this was the first one since 1977 that Lucas actually directed, I think.
Really? Oh, no, actually, oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't direct Empire and Return of the Jedi, right?
No, there were 2 other directors that did it.
So, and okay, everyone has opinions of this film. Some people really like it, some people not so much. Actually, most people not so much. Because I think one of the things is, did you know George Lucas actually wrote scenes on the way to filming during this movie?
Yeah, he was not in the best mindset for a lot of this.
And, he probably thought that with all the new technology now, it would have been so much better.
Right, exactly.
The Simpsons even did a joke on this. Yep, Simpsons did it.
You better believe it.
When they were making fun of it, and I think they call it Galaxy Wars, and they're like watching through this movie, and they're like, oh my god, this is so boring. And when they confronted the character who was supposed to be George Lucas, he says, but better technology. It makes the movie so much better. And Lisa says, better technology doesn't mean better storytelling.
Exactly. Listen up, everyone out there.
It doesn't mean better storytelling.
Yeah.
And, I get it. I think George Lucas wanted to play around with a lot of the new technology, and he thought it would make it better. But don't forget, folks, Phantom Menace, and I've talked about this a bunch of times on this podcast.
Yeah.
It created a phenomenon called Phantom Menace.
Yep.
Which, for those who don't know, is when people, after a sequel was released, people try to convince themselves that it's a good movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sometimes.
Like, it's good. It's really good. Like, oh, it sucks. Like, in another movie, which I'm sure we'll be talking about a little later, also from George Lucas. But I think the thing is, it's like, because, like I said, the late, great Roger Ebert actually gave this movie a positive review.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the first of the Star Wars movies that they waited a long time for. And then, 6 years later, we had Revenge of the Sith, which was the end of the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
And then when you thought things went down to the shitter, 10 years later, A New Hope
But I'm Bing.
was on the horizon.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we all know what happens in the time between the Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens.
Yep.
Well, what happened? Well, we'll tell you. 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilm.
Yep.
So now Star Wars is officially owned by
the
mouse. Disney, they own everything.
Yeah, they kind of do at this point.
They don't own us though, so that's good.
Yes, true.
Okay, so he had discussed the idea of a sequel trilogy for a long time, even after the conclusion of the original trilogy, like we talked about. Then in 2012, Disney bought Lucasfilm. And then what happened was The Force Awakens' first screenplay was written by Michael Arndt. At the time, this was it says right here, as a creative consultant on the film, Lucas attended early story meetings and was advised of the details of the Star Wars universe. Among the materials that he turned over to the production team, that were story treatments for episodes 7 to 9, which was requested by Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, Alan Horn, and Kevin Mayer. Lucas said Disney had discarded his story ideas, and he had no further involvement in the film. First screenplay was written by Michael Arndt at the time of his hiring, and then he was tapped to pen story treatments. And they then found they were actually considering David Fincher, Brad Bird, Jon Favreau, and Guillermo del Toro.
I remember all that too. I remember following all the news feeds for that at the time.
their first choice was actually Brad Bird.
To direct episodes 7.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And after a suggestion by Steven Spielberg to Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams was named director in January 2013.
I swear to God, the reason why he got hired was because of Star Trek.
Hey, the Star Trek
I
and
swear to
Star
you.
Wars.
No, I swear to you, because if we think about it, and I'm going up on a quick tangent, but he directed Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek Into Darkness, and that Lucasfilm probably saw that and was like, all right, we're going to have him direct Star Wars. And literally, he did a great job. So, with all three, Star Trek, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Wars. So, I think so.
So the film started going into production in May 2013.
Yeah.
And it was released in December of 2015.
Correct.
It was released in December 2015. And what did we think of it?
I liked it.
Oh, I liked it too.
Yeah, I thought it was actually The Force Awakens was a great reintroduction to the franchise.
You know what? I'm going to say unpopular opinion here. I thought The Force Awakens was the only really good one of the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
I mean, you and I are pretty much on the same boat there, buddy.
Yeah, I didn't really like The Last Jedi, and I did not like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I thought this was a good, I remember when I saw this in theaters with our good friend Justin Favaro.
Yep.
I saw this with him, and I remember like every time there was like a throwback to the original, like, we saw this scene in the trailer. Remember?
Yeah.
Chewie, we're home.
Yeah.
The audience.
Clapping like crazy.
I
know. That happened with us too. And when we saw it, like, there were people screaming in the theater, like, yes! It's crazy.
Lightsaber.
Yeah, literally. Every throwback to we'll take the junk. Oh my God, it's the Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
Every nerd is having the biggest nerdgasm of their life.
Freaking crazy, guys.
Is having the biggest nerdgasm of their life. But anyway. And then Han Solo, it is I, CP3O.
Yeah.
And my brother and I made this joke about when R2D2 comes back and CP3O, R2, I have so much to tell you. And then R2, okay, I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah.
And of course, we know the ending that everybody, when we see
Kylo Ren. Oh no,
Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker. I haven't seen it all, but forgive me. I know. Oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker, everyone. Oh my God. Yeah. Crazy.
Like,
I love me some Mark Hamill too, don't get me wrong, but it's like,
it was the audience clapped like a bunch of seals.
It's ridiculous.
Every time you see something from the old Star Wars.
Just nonstop clapping. It was crazy.
You don't blame them.
No, I don't. But bottom line, do you have anything else to say on this or no?
No, I don't think I have anything to say on that.